I thought it was just another boring Wednesday, until my phone lit up with an alert from the dog camera, and in the grainy feed, I watched my wife open the door for another man. And the worst part? I didn't scream. I didn't slam my desk. I didn't even breathe. I just sat there in the middle of a meeting I couldn't hear anymore, sipping cold coffee while my whole marriage unraveled in high-definition silence. That calmness. It scared me more than the betrayal itself, like some part of me already knew. Like I'd been waiting for this moment. We'd been married 6 years. Our dog, Bailey, was like our child. I bought that little Wi-Fi camera to check in on him during long shifts, never imagining it would catch anything else. The house was supposed to be my sanctuary, my safe place. And yet, there I was, at work, staring at a screen where the woman I loved leaned against the doorway, laughing with a stranger as if he belonged there. I leaned closer to my phone, the sounds of keyboards and phones around me fading to static. Her body language, open, playful, wasn't how she greeted friends. She tucked her hair behind her, ear in that nervous, flirty way I knew too well. He stepped inside, his hand brushing her back like it was muscle memory. Bailey barked once, then wagged his tail like this man wasn't new. That cut deeper than anything. My dog already knew him. I minimized the feed, then pulled it back up again, like maybe the image would change. But no, it was still them, her, smile bright in my living room, my couch, my life. My chest tightened, but I couldn't stop watching. She handed him a glass of water. No, not water. I saw the deep red in the glass. Wine. Afternoon wine. Who opens wine in the middle of the day unless it's planned? I couldn't process it. My co-workers laughed at something across the room. Phones rang. Someone asked me a question, but their words blurred. I was in another reality, one where my marriage was dissolving pixel by pixel. And yet, even in that chaos, another thought burned hotter than the betrayal. Why him? Who was he to her? And what did that mean for me? That's when my phone buzzed again. A message from her. "How's your day, love? Don't forget we have dinner with your parents tonight." Dinner. With my parents. The audacity of it nearly knocked the air from my lungs. I stared at her text while the live feed still played, the stranger now settling onto my couch like he'd been there 100 times. I typed back, hands trembling. "Busy. Can't wait to see you later." Normal. Casual. A lie, because I wasn't just waiting to see her. I was waiting to see how far she'd go. The camera caught her leaning in closer, whispering something I couldn't hear. He laughed and she touched his arm. The kind of touch you don't fake. My pulse pounded so loud I thought people around me might hear it. I had a choice: close the app and pretend I never saw it, or keep watching even if it destroyed me. And I couldn't look away. Minutes stretched into an eternity as I clung to every pixel, every frame. My imagination filled in the silences. Every laugh of hers was a dagger, every glance a secret I hadn't been invited to. My knuckles whitened around my phone, nails biting into my palm. Then, her hand disappeared from view. His followed. The screen shifted just enough to show their bodies angling toward each other, their heads close. Too close. I froze. The air in the office thickened, heavy, suffocating. Around me the world carried on, oblivious. My life was crumbling, and no one noticed. I wanted to stand up, to scream, to storm home and rip open that door. But I didn't. Because the truth is, I was terrified of what else I might see. Terrified that the story I'd built about us, our love, our marriage, our forever, was already gone. And just as my heart stuttered in my chest, she turned her face toward him, lips parting, and the feed glitched, a frozen frame. A half-second of static, and I never hated silence more than in that moment. The screen froze on her face, angled toward him, lips parted in that unmistakable way that only meant one thing. I stared so long at the glitch that my eyes burned, like if I just waited hard enough the pixels would rearrange and tell a different story. But when the feed blinked back to life, they were gone from view, just Bailey, pacing the living room, whining softly as if even he knew the air had changed. My hand hovered over the app, torn between closing it and refreshing again. Curiosity was poison, but it was already in my veins, flooding fast. I refreshed. The feed loaded. And there they were, not kissing, not yet, but so close my throat tightened. She touched his jaw with the same tenderness she once reserved only for me. And that was when something inside me broke. Not loud, not dramatic, just a quiet, internal snap. I couldn't sit still anymore. My leg bounced under the desk. My boss's voice droned across the office, but the words were drowned in the rush of blood behind my ears. All I could think was, do I go home right now? Or do I keep watching? I kept watching, because anger wasn't enough. I needed the truth. I needed to see just how deep this betrayal ran. I locked my phone and shoved it into my pocket, trying to appear normal, but my body betrayed me. My hands shook as I typed half-hearted emails. My smile felt brittle when a coworker cracked a joke. Every second that passed was another moment she spent with him, in the house I bought, surrounded by the life we built together. Finally, I caved. I slipped into the stairwell, away from everyone, heart hammering as I reopened the feed. The picture loaded slowly like the universe was toying with me. Then it appeared, the two of them on the couch. Her legs curled under her, his arm draped casually along the backrest. So familiar, so intimate, so wrong, and yet, I couldn't stop staring at her, the way she leaned into him, the way her hair fell across her face. I remembered every moment I'd brushed that same strand back, every time she'd laughed at something I said. Now those memories felt stolen, repurposed for him. The worst part wasn't even the betrayal. It was the realization that she still looked beautiful to me. That even as my chest caved in, my body ached for her. Desire and devastation tangled like barbed wire inside me. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Thinking about you. Hurry home after work tonight, can't wait to kiss you. Her words, her lies, sent while she sat inches from another man. I wanted to throw my phone against the wall, to smash the glass into 1,000 shards. But instead I typed back, me too, counting the minutes. Because what else could I do? Confront her now through a screen, with no proof but pixels? No. I needed more. I needed to catch her in the act, to look her in the eyes when the mask finally slipped. The hours dragged. Every time I checked the feed I caught flashes. His hand brushing hers, her laughter echoing in gestures, their bodies tilting closer. They weren't reckless, they knew when to shift out of the camera's view. That almost hurt more. It meant they'd done this before. They knew where the blind spots were, and that knowledge, that practiced ease, burned like acid in my veins. By the time my shift ended, I was vibrating with tension. My hands were steady only because I'd clenched them so tight they'd gone numb. I drove home in silence, the world outside a blur of headlights and shadows. Every red light felt like torture. Every turn was another second, closer to whatever waited inside. When I pulled into the driveway, the house looked the same as always. White siding, blue shutters, our porch light glowing soft and warm, a beacon that once meant comfort. Now it felt like a spotlight daring me to step inside and face the truth. I killed the engine and sat there, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles blanched. I didn't know what I'd find. Maybe they'd left. Maybe she'd be alone, pretending nothing happened, greeting me with a kiss that tasted of lies. Or maybe I'd walk into the storm itself. The dog barked as I unlocked the door. The sound hit me in the chest, familiar and grounding. Bailey bounded toward me, tail wagging, eyes bright. For a second, I almost let myself believe everything was normal. But then I saw it. 2 glasses of wine on the counter, one still half full, and her, standing at the sink, rinsing plates that weren't ours. Her hair damp, her cheeks flushed. She turned when she heard me, her smile wide and easy like I was the only man in her world. "Hey, love," she said softly, walking toward me. "You're home early." And behind her, on the chair by the hallway, a jacket I didn't recognize. My pulse thundered in my ears. The walls closed in, and I knew. I wasn't imagining any. Her smile froze the second she saw my eyes. Maybe it was the stiffness in my shoulders or the way my jaw locked so tight it ached. But she knew. She knew something was off. "You're home early," she said again, softer this time. Her fingers fidgeting against the hem of the dish towel. I didn't answer. I stepped farther into the room, Bailey circling my legs, tail wagging like nothing was wrong. My gaze drifted past her, to the jacket draped over the chair. Navy blue. Expensive looking. A size too big to ever be mine. "Who's here?" My voice came out quieter than I expected. Not a scream, not an accusation. Just steady, deadly steady. Her lips parted, but no words came. She looked toward the hallway, then back at me, her pulse fluttering in her neck. And that silence, God, it confirmed everything. The air thickened, pressing down on me like a storm cloud. I forced myself to breathe, though every inhale scraped against the sharp edges of betrayal lodged in my chest. "Finally," she whispered, "he's gone." Gone, just like that. She said it as if that erased what I'd seen, as if absence could undo presence. I moved closer, slow, deliberate. "Gone," I repeated, letting the word roll off my tongue. "That's convenient." Her eyes darted to mine, wide and pleading, as though if she stared long enough I might forget what I'd witnessed. But I couldn't forget. The images from that camera were branded onto my brain. "I don't know what you think you saw," she began. I cut her off with a bitter laugh, the sound foreign in my own throat. Don't insult me by pretending." She flinched, clutching the towel tighter, her knuckles white. "It's not what you think." That line. The oldest, laziest script in the book. I almost laughed again, but it caught in my throat, turning into something rawer, heavier. "You touched him," I said, voice low. "You smiled at him like I don't even exist. Do you have any idea what it's like, sitting at work, watching my wife?" My voice cracked, but I forced it steady. "Watching you with someone else in my house?" Her breath hitched. Her eyes glistened. "You checked the camera?" The way she said it, it wasn't shame, it was shock. Like the real crime wasn't what she'd done, but the fact I'd caught her. I wasn't supposed to see, was I? My chest heaved, anger and grief mixing like fire and smoke. "You knew the angles, you knew where to sit, where not to stand. How many times, huh? How many times has he been here right under my nose?" She shook her head fiercely, a tear spilling down her cheek. "It's not like that, please, just... Then tell me what it's like," I roared, the words ripping from me before I could stop them. Bailey yelped, retreating to the corner, ears flat. The silence afterward was suffocating, broken only by her trembling breaths. Her hands dropped the towel, fingers curling helplessly at her sides, and then, barely audible, "I was lonely." Those 3 words gutted me. More than denial, more than lies. Lonely. As if my love, my presence, hadn't been enough. "You were lonely?" My voice cracked like glass. "I've killed myself, working for us. For this house, for Bailey, for a future. And you're lonely?" Tears streamed freely now, her chest rising and falling in uneven rhythm. "You're gone all the time. And when you're home, you're tired. You don't see me anymore. Not the way you used to." Her confession wasn't loud, but it was sharp, cutting me open in places I didn't even know were vulnerable, because somewhere, buried under the betrayal, was a flicker of truth. I staggered back a step as if distance might dull the sting. My heart wanted to hate her. My body still ached for her. My mind spun between both until I could barely tell which was real. She moved closer, slowly, as though afraid I'd shatter. Her voice softened, trembling. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I swear I didn't. I wanted to push her away. Instead, I stood frozen as her fingers brushed my hand. Tentative, almost apologetic. That single touch cracked me open. 6 years of memories surged. The first kiss, the laughter, the vows whispered in candlelight. And against all reason, I whispered, "Do you love him?" Her breath caught. She closed her eyes, a tear trembling on her lashes. And when she finally looked at me, her answer was barely a whisper. "No, I love you." The words should have soothed me, but instead they twisted the knife deeper. Because if she loved me, truly loved me, how could she do this? I pulled my hand away, my chest tight. Love doesn't look like that. Her face crumpled, but before she could speak again, a sound from the hallway made us both freeze. Footsteps. Not gone after all. The blood drained from my face. My entire world narrowed to that shadow stretching across the floorboards. And in that breathless moment, the shadow in the hallway lengthened, stretching across the floor like a wound splitting open. I didn't move. Neither did she. My wife's face drained of color, her lips parting in silent panic. Then, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, echoing off the hardwood. And there he was. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair still mussed from where she'd run her fingers through it. His shirt half-buttoned, his eyes calm in a way that made my skin crawl. He didn't look guilty. He looked comfortable, like he belonged. My chest tightened until every breath hurt. So this is him. The stranger's gaze flicked to her, then back to me. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. His presence was louder than words. My wife stepped forward quickly, her hands raised, her voice trembling. "Please, don't. Just let me explain." "Explain?" I laughed, bitter and hollow. "What's left to explain? He's here, I saw you, the wine glasses, the looks, the touches. How much more proof do I need?" Her eyes shone with tears. Her body angled between us like she could shield me from the reality standing just feet away. "It's not what you think," she whispered again, but even she sounded unconvinced. The man finally spoke, his voice low, steady. "Maybe we should just talk." That was it. That calm suggestion. That intrusion of reason where only fury belonged. My blood boiled. I lunged forward, closing the distance until I was inches from him. "Talk?" I hissed. "You come into my house, sit on my couch, touch my wife, and you think we're going to talk?" His jaw tightened, but he didn't flinch. That composure, it made me want to break something. My wife's voice cracked, desperate. "Stop, please, just stop." Bailey barked from the corner, his nails skittering against the floor as the tension spiked. My hands curled into fists, but I forced them to my sides, every muscle screaming for release. Violence would be too easy, too final. I turned back to her, my voice shaking with the weight of everything. "Why him? Out of everyone, why him?" Her lips trembled. "Because he saw me." The word struck harder than a punch. My breath caught, raw and jagged. She saw the pain flicker in my eyes, but she kept going, her voice breaking. "You don't look at me anymore, not like you used to. You come home tired, you eat, you sleep, you work." I felt invisible. And he noticed. Each word cut deeper, carving out the hollow places I hadn't realized I'd left behind. I wanted to scream that I did see her, that I worked myself to exhaustion because I loved her, because I wanted to give her more than enough. But the truth was undeniable. Somewhere along the line, I had stopped noticing. The silence that followed was unbearable. The man shifted uncomfortably, but I couldn't tear my eyes from her. "You could have told me," I said finally, my voice raw. "You could have said something. Anything. Instead, you brought him here." Tears streamed down her face as she shook her head, whispering, I know, and I hate myself for it." She reached for me, but I stepped back. The distance between us widening like a chasm, and then, his voice again, quiet but firm. "She still loves you." I snapped my head toward him, rage flaring white-hot. "You don't get to say that. You don't get to stand in my home and tell me what my wife feels." He held my stare, unflinching. "I'm not here to take her from you." The words hung heavy, confusing, almost absurd. My mind scrambled to process them. "I was never going to be more than this," he continued, his voice steady. "She talked about you the whole time. Even when she was with me, it was always you." My stomach twisted. The confession didn't soften the blow. It twisted the knife deeper. Because it meant even in betrayal I had been present. Even in lies, I was the shadow looming between them. I turned back to her, my voice barely above a whisper. "Is that true?" Her sob shook her whole body. "Yes. God, yes, I love you. I've always loved you. I was stupid. I was weak. And I can't undo what I did. But I never stopped loving you." The room spun. The walls seemed to close in, pressing down on me until my chest ached. My heart warred with itself. Rage against longing, betrayal against love. And in the middle of it all, Bailey padded over, pressing his warm body against my leg, grounding me with a simple, unspoken loyalty I no longer knew how to find in her. Looked down at him, then back up at her, my voice breaking on the edge of a decision I wasn't ready to make. "I don't know if love is enough anymore." The words silenced everything. The tears, the excuses, even the stranger's steady presence. For the first time since the camera caught that moment, my wife's face crumbled completely, her hope shattering before my eyes, and I knew, whatever came next, nothing would ever be the same. Her knees buckled as if my words had stripped the floor out from under her. She clutched the counter for balance, shoulders shaking, tears falling hard and fast now, no longer contained. The stranger, her stranger, shifted back, finally seeming to understand that his part in this story was over. "I'll go," he muttered, almost to himself. He grabbed his jacket from the chair, his footsteps heavy but unhurried as he crossed the room. The front door opened, then shut, leaving a silence so deep it roared in my ears. And then it was just us. The woman I had loved for 6 years, the woman I had planned to grow old with, the woman who had shattered me in the most ordinary of afternoons. Her voice was ragged, broken. "Please, don't leave me. I'll do anything to fix this." I stared at her, my throat thick. Every memory rushed forward at once. Our first date, our wedding day, Bailey curled between us on the couch during lazy Sundays. And woven through it all was this nightmarish image of her smiling at another man, laughing in a way that once belonged only to me. "I don't know if this can be fixed," I whispered. Her sobbed breath cracked the air. She crossed the room slowly, hesitantly, as though each step might collapse the fragile space between us. When she reached me, she didn't touch. She just stood there, inches away, her eyes begging. "I was wrong," she said, her words trembling. "I was selfish and I was scared and I let myself believe lies instead of facing what was real. But I love you. That's the truth. I can't lose you." For a moment, I almost believed her. For a moment, I almost let my arms close around her because my body still remembered the shape of hers, still craved her warmth. But then I remembered the camera, that frozen frame, the wine glasses, the shadow in the hallway. and the ache in my chest reminded me, love isn't just words. Love is trust. And ours had been shattered. I stepped back, the movement small but final. Her face fell, her breath catching in disbelief. I need space, I said, each syllable heavy as stone. I can't breathe in this house right now. I can't look at you and not see him, not yet. Her tears streaked her cheeks, but she nodded, swallowing her sobs. I'll wait, she whispered. However long it takes, I'll wait. The, words hollowed me out. Part of me wanted to cling to them, to let them be enough. But another part of me, the part that had watched betrayal unfold in real time, knew waiting might never heal what was broken. I grabbed Bailey's leash from the hook by the door, his ears perked up, tail wagging like the world hadn't changed. I clipped the leash to his collar, my hand steadier now, almost mechanical. She stood frozen, her arms wrapped around herself as if she could hold the pieces together. "Where will you go?" she asked, her voice fragile. I met her eyes one last time, my chest tightening with 1,000 unspoken things. "I don't know," I admitted. "But not here. Not tonight." And with that I stepped outside. The night air was cool, the street quiet. Bailey trotted beside me, unaware of the storm inside my chest. I walked without destination, the leash a lifeline pulling me forward when all I wanted was to collapse. Every step echoed with the weight of choice. I could go back, accept her apologies, pretend this never happened. Or I could walk into the unknown, fractured but free. Neither path offered comfort. Neither path promised healing. But for now there was only movement. I looked up at the stars, distant and indifferent, and let out a shaky breath. My wife cheated on me, I whispered into the night. Saying it aloud made it real, carved it into the air around me. And yet beneath the rawness there was clarity. This wasn't the end of my life. Just the end of the life I thought I had. Bailey nudged my leg, tail wagging, eyes trusting. I bent down, pressing my forehead to his fur, inhaling the familiar scent of safety, of loyalty. And in that small, steady comfort, I found something like hope, not for us, for me. The road ahead was uncertain, but it was mine. And maybe, just maybe, that was